It's time to meet Clifton.
With your host, Ray Grabowski.
Here's Ray.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening, hello, and welcome to Meet Clifton. I'm Ray, and sitting over there is my co-host, George Silva.
Good to be back.
Welcome, George. Nice to have you back. Well, usually on this show, we like to look on the bright side of things. However, we do want to take a moment and honor a man who was a pillar in this community. Mr. John Biegel Jr., the man who helped create the Clifton Avenue of Flags, is unfortunately no longer with us. So in lieu of a third guest tonight, we are going to re-air his interview from way back in season 1. But first, we do have two fantastic guests tonight, so sit back and relax while the two tones play us in.
If I searched this whole wide world.
Tonight on Meet Clifton, Ray sits down with local author Michael Gabriele and cigar maker Fausto Codio, and a special tribute rebroadcast of our interview with John Biegel Jr. And of course, musical interludes by the Two Tones Orchestra. All this and much more on Meet Clifton.
Welcome to Meet Clifton. The entire point of this show is to showcase the people in this wonderful city and the multitudes of talents that they possess. Our first guest tonight is a perfect example of this. Please welcome author Michael Gabriele.
Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Okay, Mike wrote this book, New Jersey Folk Festival, Folk Revival Music. Now, before we start, maybe you could give us the definition of folk revival music.
Sure. Well, I go by the strict academic folklorist definitions. Folk music, folk, is the music that's been handed down over hundreds of years. It kind of comes from the hills. Nobody really remembers who writes the song, but people have been singing these songs for a long time. It's orally handed down generation to generation. Folk revival music is the commercial outgrowth of that music. They take the spirit and the structure of folk music, and then this is where you have the rise of the singer-songwriter. People take that acoustic sound and the acoustic structure, they tell a story, but now they're doing it in their own words. They're writing new songs. So that's the revival or the renaissance or the reawakening of folk music.
Okay, so just a small introduction. Just give me a few names or titles of musicians that fall in this category before we even get started with
Well,
this.
people that you would know, Joan Baez, of course, Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger, Bob Dylan, Peter, Paul, and Mary. These are all examples of the folk revival. And there have been several revivals that have occurred over the years. The one that people would know most about would be the revival in the late 50s, early 60s, the Greenwich Village scene.
Okay, so that brings us to the book. So tell us about this book, and why did you even want to write this?
Well, the key here is New Jersey folk revival music. New Jersey, in its history, deserves as much credit for folk revival music as does Greenwich Village, as does Cambridge, Massachusetts, as does San Francisco. As a matter of fact, the point of my book is, if you think about the history of it, we really started it a long time ago in, of all places, Camden, New Jersey. That's where everybody went to record their first commercial albums.
I didn't know that.
Like Woody Guthrie. Where did he record his first album? Not in Texas, not in New York City, Camden, New Jersey. Jimmy Rogers, the father of country music, Camden, New Jersey. The Carter family, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? Camden, New Jersey. Paul Robeson, Camden. This is where it all happened in the early years of the 20th century. This is when the revival took place, and other places in New Jersey. But that's the idea. It's New Jersey's history. People say, well, I never knew that. Well, that's kind of the idea.
Right, because most people, when you think, they think New York City, Haight-Ashbury, California. It's good to know that New Jersey, and we do have a lot of things in New Jersey. You're trying to say that this is one of the musical ones that we really need to know about.
That's right.
So in your book, you talk about what are some of the heroes that you like discuss in this book?
Well, you think about the people that were really out there and doing this for the first time, like Woody Guthrie, like Joan Baez, like Pete Seeger. Pete Seeger, there was a time when he was blacklisted because he was very controversial with his politics. He wanted to get on TV. Couldn't get on network TV, but he knew that he could get on TV here in New Jersey. there was a UHF station, if anybody remembers UHF. He went there and he produced the show for 2 years. And he brought all kind of people like famous people like Johnny Cash and people like that would appear on the show for an hour program. So yeah, those are some of the heroes.
Right. So we're keeping it in the New Jersey vein in New Jersey. What's happening today in this? Because you don't hear a lot about it.
You don't hear a lot about it, but it kind of flies under the radar. Maybe it should get more credit, but lots of things happening in New Jersey. One thing to keep in mind is this is a living tradition, not something, it happened 100 years ago, but it's right up to date, right here and now. For example, there is a New Jersey folk festival that's been going on for 40 plus years, where it's always the last Saturday of April at Rutgers University. We have a 40 plus year tradition of bluegrass music way down in Salem County that's been going on for a long time, right here in New Jersey. And these are the things that, there's a lot of organizations. There's the Folk Project in the Morristown area. There's people who are really, really aficionados, really people who love the music, and they do it because they love it. And they also like to hear good music too.
Right.
So.
Obviously, it sounds like you have a passion for this.
I do.
Are you one of the folk singers? Do you play any instrument or in a band, or you just love it?
I'm more jazz, blues, rock and roll myself. I've always enjoyed folk music. I'm a saxophone player, but I enjoy going to a small place, a small venue, and hearing live music. I like to hear what the people, like, what are their ideas? How are they expressing themselves? How are they going to improvise? What's going on with their music? That's what I like to hear. So live acoustic music is very good for that.
Right, and I just have to ask you, what made you decide to sit down and write a book? I mean, now you explained a little because of New Jersey and you want people to, but there had to be other inspiration, because this is a pretty big book.
It's a pretty big book. It took 2.5 years to write.
Sure.
I've been a journalist for a long time, 40 plus years. I was very lucky. About 10 years ago, I connected with my publisher, The History Press. They're based in South Carolina. I sent them an idea for a book, and they said yes. And I'm very lucky, because that doesn't happen too often.
Right.
So this is now my third book about New Jersey history. And I've been working with this publisher, The History Press, and I'm very fortunate, very lucky, and very thankful that I've had this opportunity to really become an author. So yeah.
And it's pretty impressive. I thumbed through it. I like to read it at some point. There's a lot of information in here that people can read. I'm just glad that you're doing something to promote New Jersey. Plus, being a musician myself, music is close to my heart. This is something that's important. Now, I understand that sometime in April, you're going to be doing a program at the Clifton Main Library.
The Friends of the Library invited me to do a talk on my book, and I get invited to do talks at libraries and historical societies all around the state. It's wonderful. I'm very lucky. So I'm going to be at the Clifton Main Memorial Library Thursday, April the 19th, 7 o'clock. Be there or be square. Okay.
And just let me add, there's no musicians coming with you, right? Or you're not going to have any?
I'm not going to. There'll be a few surprises. Let's say that there'll be a musical segment.
That's what I meant. Will there be some music?
There'll be some music.
Because I think that would be nice.
Yes,
to explain your book, but it's also nice to have music.
Well, the title and the subject matter kind of lend itself to live music. So yes, we're going to have some music for you that night.
Good. So we're looking forward to it. If anyone's out there on April 19th at the Clifton Main Library, at what time is it again?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Step down and talk to Mike about the book. It's very interesting, and I'm sure you'll learn a lot. And it's a good thing for New Jersey also. Mike, I appreciate you coming.
Pleasure.
In. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back with more Meet Clifton.
Hello, Clifton. Welcome to our special event. Well, Lambert Castle will be having their annual Victorian Tea. They are having it on April 27th, 28th, and 29th. Seatings are at 12 noon and 3 p.m. each day. The price is $45 per guest, but it is an array of different types of teas, different scones, different sandwiches, desserts. So don't think of it as just having tea. You're having a nice little luncheon, meeting with a whole bunch of wonderful people, and you will be entertained by the Barbershop Quartet. Quite talented. They were great last year, and they will be there this year. We did film last year, so if you're interested on getting your face on camera, we'd love to have you on there. And again, it's at Lambert Castle. They're located at 3 Valley Road. And if you would like to call for tickets, please call 973-247-0085. And again, that is April 27th, 28th, 29th, 12 noon, and also 3 p.m. seating. So please come out and enjoy the day. Last year was a beautiful sunny day, and hopefully we'll have the same as well. And again, the Clifton Channel will be filming, so please consider going and enjoying the day with some of your friends or meet new friends. Thanks so much.
Welcome back. Our next guest is of a different breed than our normal guest. We have had several doctors, health professionals on the show who all probably agree that this next guest profession is bad for your health. But for many, it's a pastime that is to be enjoyed. Before we bring him on, I want to make it clear that, of course, Meet Clifton does not condone any behavior that might be hazardous to your health or others, but we do have a special interest in this topic. So if you're interested, listen up. Our next guest is cigar maker Fausto Codio.
Thanks so much for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Mr. Codio. He's an interesting guest today. He's a cigar maker, and you know, cigars have a lot of history behind them. You know, and we talked before the show. Cigar making is an art.
Yeah, it really is an art.
It's not what we think, and we were talking about, maybe you could explain to the people. It's a little bit about a process, you know, from the time the leaf is grown.
Yeah, it's a very long process. Before you smoke a cigar, it takes about probably months, years, because you have to bring it to a bucket,
right,
to the sea, and then after a couple of months, then you have to bring it to the land, and it takes about maybe a year to let it grow.
Right.
After that, you have to let it dry, do the treatment, and it takes a while to
right.
To bring it to the farm to
right.
start making the cigars.
Now, the cigars you make are from the Dominican Republic. Is that right?
Yeah, I have my own brand.
Your own
which
brand,
is Codio.
right? Okay, and so they bring the leaf into the factory. It's not like here. I know people think the tobacco doesn't go into a machine, and we're talking. Maybe you could explain that. It's not as simple as this. There's a big process.
Yeah, it's like we were saying before. You said over here they use a machine because it produces more cigar and faster. When you go to Dominican Republic and you see these people make it by hand, because most of the cigar are made by hand,
right.
because it's easier to grab a long leaf,
right.
And all the all different tobacco, because the tobacco is made of different tobacco, like Nicaragua, Cuba, and it's a mix.
Right.
It does take about 40 minutes to make a real cigar.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people on the show, they see it differently, because you have to press it,
right.
put it in the molding, and it takes to get the form of
right.
the cigar, it takes about 40 minutes.
So let me ask you have all these different workers. Is every cigar different? Because you might be rolling one, I might be doing one, or George. Is every single one going to be a little different?
It basically different in size,
right.
in flavor, and which one is more stronger than the other.
Right.
But especially on the mix of the leaf of the tobacco.
Right.
Because some tobacco, tobacco is like wine.
Right.
You have tobacco that you can conserve it for 10 years.
Right.
And it tastes different like 5 years.
Right. So and we're saying if you have a humidor, I guess.
Exactly. If you got a humidor, like you were asking before, you can conserve a cigar for 10 years as long as you put distilled water, inside
right.
the humidor.
Does it get better with age? Because
yeah.
say wine is better with age.
The same
you
thing.
Smoke a 10-year-old cigar.
It's the same thing, same quality.
Same quality.
When you keep it the same, treatment like as a wine.
Right. So that's good.
Yeah.
Because you could buy and keep it for. I'm sure there's people that have all different types of cigars in their houses.
That's correct. I mean, people want the first thing people buy is a humidor, because
right.
that's why you want to keep the cigar and keep it safe.
Right.
And that's people like to try different cigars. People never get stuck with one cigar. People
right.
always want to try different.
Right.
So they got different flavor.
There's flavored cigars then too, right?
Yeah, there's flavor. There's mango, amaretto, pineapple.
right.
Different. There's like 100 cigars.
And I just want to touch one more thing about the Cuban cigar. We heard that it's special, but that's because it was illegal for a long time.
Exactly, like as I mentioned before. I mean, when you have illegal stuff, people
right.
die for that.
Right.
Okay, because that's why they're so famous. Because
right.
people couldn't reach it, years ago.
Right.
Today,
doesn't necessarily make it a better cigar.
Nah, not really.
I mean, I'm sure your cigar are really good.
Yeah, my cigar, I bring it to even Cuban people to
right.
try, and they told me they're good cigars.
Right. Now, cigars, price-wise, does the price go by the leaf? I'm sure. I don't know. What's the average cigar cost?
Well, average cigar
Let's
goes
just say.
about $5 to $6.
$5 to $6. And what could be the most expensive cigar
Well, I seen cigar that costs up to $2,800.
for one cigar?
Well, for one box.
Oh,
But
one bo- yeah, one box.
cigars that cost you, I believe it's a Turo Fuente, which is they cost about $250, $200, $300.
Really?
Yeah.
And I don't smoke cigars, but can you taste the difference?
Well, I mean, it's like wine. I believe
Right.
you try 300 and you try $5.
Right.
So you see the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Because those cigars, they keep it and they conserve it for so many years, and that's what brings the flavor.
Right.
That's why they bring the price so high.
Right. That's an expensive habit if you like cigars.
Wait, it's it's like any habit.
And it's different. It's not the same thing as a cigarette. It's smoked differently.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think cigars more of a pleasure
It's
thing.
a pleasure, exactly.
It's an event or
It's more pleasure, It's more, more more relation with, with
I guess
with
more
other
like
people.
like an event or a party,
Exactly.
a celebration. You bring it out for a certain reason, like certain wines, I guess.
And today is more networking because when you see cigar, people comes more often
Right.
and they go more together.
Yeah. You have a nice product. It's packaged well.
Exactly.
That's
So how you
important.
display your brand, how you get to people, and
I can just show how it's packaged. It's a nice display.
thank you, I
It looks,
appreciate that.
it looks really nice. I'm trying to get it to camera angle.
But I mean, the cigar today, is very popular. It's about who follow the cigar and
Right.
if they like it or not.
And I know they have a lot of events and cigar events. I
Yeah.
remember, and I probably still to this day, when you had a baby, the first thing you bought was a cigar, right?
Exactly.
Everybody gave
Everybody,
out a
they
cigar.
went in the hospital.
Right.
They don't do it anymore. But you walked into the hospital with your box of cigars and you gave everybody a cigar.
No, but they still do. I mean,
They do that, really?
they do it. Yeah, they hire because on those events they bring the roller because that's part of
Right.
the events. The roller basically they don't bring the cigar from scratch like I
Right.
was telling you. It
Right.
takes 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40
Because
minutes
you
is a long
got
time.
you got a molding for 10 cigars, okay,
Right.
and then you put 10 cigars, you press it, and that's take 40 minutes. When you go to the events, they bring a pre-roll.
Yeah, pre-rolls, yeah. Sure,
That way,
of course.
it takes about 2 minutes, 1 minute to make a cigar,
Yeah.
to just put the wrap.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming out. We learned a little something. It was different than what we normally do, but
Well,
I like to thank you.
Thank you very
thank
much for inviting me.
As we promised, right after the updates is our airing of John Biegel Jr.'s interview. So since it was taped on October of 2016, please mind the set change, but stay tuned. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I have a few updates for you. The Angels of Animals will be having a kitten shower and dinner dance on Friday, June 1st from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. It'll be at the Athenia Vets Post on 147 Huron Ave. The cost for tickets, adults are $40 and kids 14 and under are $25. The advance purchase only for tickets. No tickets will be sold at the door, so make sure you call them at 973-932-0039 or email amy@angelsofanimals.org. Also, the Clifton Arts Centers and Clifton Association of Artists presents Travel. It's an exhibit and sale of their works. It'll be at Lambert Castle, located at 3 Valley Road, and the reception and awards are on Saturday, April 7th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So make sure you stop by.
Welcome back. With me tonight, I have two people, Mr. John Biegel Jr. and Mr. Frank Gascione, talking about a very, very important topic, especially for today. We're talking about America, our flags, and how important is it for us to display our patriotism. Firstly, Mr. John Biegel is the chairman of the Avenue of Flags, and for those of us that don't know this, when was the Avenue of the Flags established?
It started in 2002. Walter Brooksma started with me and Keith Oakley. Walter Brooksma went to Iowa by his son, and they had a park. They had about 55 flags, and they were going to continue. But right now, they don't have too many. They only have about 300. We have 1,769 flags right now today.
Okay.
And
No, I'm sorry.
they'll all be going up Veterans Day.
Right, and they go up a few times a year, obviously. But How many flags to date? You said 17? Which one?
1,769.
69. Okay. How are you affiliated with the department? You know, the flag thing.
Well, the flag, Avenue of Flags is by itself. The city has nothing to do with it, really.
Right.
They gave us the barn, thank God.
Okay.
And they gave us a heater and a doorway that goes up and down automatic. Of course, me and Bill can't pick it up, it's too heavy. We're like the walking wounded. We both have, all three of us have canes, and nobody wants to come and help, and we always look for somebody. Like Bill now, he's got a situation, and he can't bang the pipes in the ground, which is, we need some young guy to come and help us put the pipes in the ground. That's how we start the flag. You gotta put the pipe in the ground, and then we put the flags together in the barn, and then you got to put them in the ground. We have volunteers, thank God. People in Clifton, fine. People from Passaic come and help us too. And we're always looking for volunteers. Usually at 6 a.m. The first 3 holidays are 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then 9/11, it's 6:30 to 6:30. Veterans Day is short. 7 to 3 o'clock, because it gets dark at 4:30.
Okay. The flags here, are they flags only for Clifton residents?
Right. The Clifton veterans purchase a flag. Now, if you live in Florida and you work from Clifton, you can get a flag. I just got one today from Kentucky.
Right.
I just read the papers today and filled it in, and they're from Kentucky, but he lives in Barclay Avenue, Clifton, years ago, so he's getting the flag.
Right, okay, so this is basically a Clifton
Yeah.
event, which is good. I know, how many sections of this flag?
Right now I have 27 sections. Each one has a different colored tape on it. And we just did 27th, and we're gonna be starting 28
Right.
pretty soon.
So volunteers are very important.
Oh, very good. They come out of, I don't know where they come from, but thank God they come with their kids. The kids is good because they can bend down, take the cap off. The big people can't take the caps off. And I like a bunch of kids. Now I got Girl Scouts are coming, so they're coming with their mothers though, because they're a little small.
Oh, all the help.
The poles are 10 foot tall.
Right, yeah, it's cumbersome.
So,
No, that's good. And actually, for people watching at home, if you want to be a volunteer, it'd be a good idea to get in touch with Mr.
about the
Biegel
fire
at
department,
the barn.
Fire department.
yeah, the fire
Right,
department.
you want to say something about
Oh, when the fire engines come in, I smile because they come in with about 3 or 4 trucks. And we also have the Good Shepherd Mission from Patterson. They come in with 10 to 15 people, which is great. The only thing with the fire, if they get a call, they gotta run, and they leave the flags. They leave the flags, and then somebody else gotta go and do it for them.
But I think it's nice
But
when
they're
people,
great.
when people see the display, they drive by and it's, you know, it's proud to be.
Now,
a
you know why they
Clifton.
come? Mr. Gashon been bringing coffee every time, but now we gotta change it. We gotta make them come later.
They're not getting any more coffee after
No,
this.
they drink the coffee. They don't want to go to work.
No, hopefully. So
But
how
thank God for Frank Gashon and coffee.
no. How many times a year do we actually display the flags? Is it 5 times?
5 times.
And that would be 4th of July?
Memorial Day, Flag Day, 4th of July, 9/11, and Veterans Day.
Okay, so actually, Veteran Day is coming up, and I know Clifton, they're really proud of their parade, and Mr. Gascione is a co-chair of the parade, and I think he'd like to explain a little bit about what's going to go on within the next 2 weeks for the parade. So,
Yeah, November 6th, Sunday, November 6th is our Veterans Day parade, and the City of Clifton, through the Veterans Committee, is very proud of our veterans, and our parade is designed to honor them with a parade and a ceremony. So that'll be Sunday, November 6th. The parade will start at 2 o'clock from the Athenian Vets on Huron Avenue. It'll proceed up to Van Houten Avenue and terminate on the front steps of City Hall. The parade is, I think it's a fabulous parade. It's, we have 10 marching bands, and they're led by the fabulous Mustang Marching Band, the Show Band of the East. And we end with a fabulous some entertainment from the Hawthorne Caballeros, the famous Hawthorne Caballeros. But the parade consists of a lot of the police and fire departments and a lot of the veterans posts, and also many youth groups and civic groups that participate in the parade and make it a very honorable showing for our vets, and we're very proud of it. The other thing, Ray, if I might, I would like to mention all the people that sponsor the parade.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how does it?
Yeah, the parade is funded, entirely funded by people that Clifton residents and businesses that give contributions every year. Plus, we have a fundraiser at the end of June every year. We call it the Fabulous Foods of Clifton, where 25 plus restaurants from the city of Clifton come and bring their dishes, and they serve the people, and it's a way for us to raise funds for the parade.
And I appreciate that, Frank. And I think the parade is coming out. I hope everyone comes out and watches on the streets. Usually the streets are pretty full. And it's a great thing. We honor our veterans. It's very important nowadays that we respect our country and our flag, because what's happening in the world is disgraceful, and we have to show our pride in our country. So I'd like to thank these two gentlemen for coming on. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Well, it's been building up inside of me for a I don't know how long. I don't know why, but I keep thinking something's bound to go wrong. When she looks in my eyes and makes me realize when she says, don't worry, baby, don't worry, baby, don't worry, baby.
Well, thank you all very much for joining us here on Meet Clifton. Tonight's show is over, but we have more of our hometown to showcase in 2 weeks. I'd like to thank our guests for coming on, and to thank my cast and crew for helping make another fantastic episode of Meet Clifton. Also, this Saturday, March 31st, is my mom's birthday. I'd like to wish her a happy birthday from me and, of course, everyone here in Clifton
Happy
Channel.
birthday, Mrs. G.
And George. So from all of us, remember to be good to your friends and family, respect your neighbors, keep Clifton close to your heart. This is a great city. Thank you, God bless, and good night.